Do it.
I don't see me. You see me just fine?
Yeah, we're good, man. All right, man.
All right, X, Y, Z.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, down here, man. So, hold on as I get my first topic on here. We're going to be talking about the Georgia and Alabama takeaways, man. Where should
Man,
we start with that?
best game. I mean, best best game I've seen in years in college football.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
thought it
man.
was
I thought it was over in the first half. Like something told me to keep watching though. I don't know what told me to keep watching, but I just continued watching even though Alabama was destroying them in the first half. I just
yeah,
felt like
it
I
was
don't know.
amazing.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is I'm watching the game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jalen Milroe is in the first half the number one pick in the draft. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking
easily.
Carson Beck, I'm watching this game and I'm thinking
And I'm
Carson
like,
Beck is going to be the next Mac Jones that's sitting
he's
on
about to
the bench.
lose so much money, right?
Yes. I thought all this hype about being the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
And the second half was a whole different game.
Flip around.
The third quarter, early fourth quarter, um, it does tell you the difference in having veteran teams.
Yeah.
I think if you look at some amazing teams over the years, some really good teams
Yeah.
don't understand about putting their foot on somebody's throat. And I think Alabama learned a lesson. They
Yeah,
learned
they
a lesson.
did.
You know,
They
like a
got
lot of
lucky for the ending.
a lot of old heads. Guys like me. We always talk about having some dog in you, and they learned a lesson, and they came away with the W with it.
Yeah.
Because that was an amazing game. I mean, uh, Georgia came back balling. Uh, just, but this was going to segue into what I know you want to ask about next about Alabama. Their guy,
Their guy.
their that
Yep.
guy,
You know who I'm talking about.
that guy,
Ryan Williams,
that
17-year-old
he
prodigy. What are we
he is
thinking,
that
man?
guy.
What are we thinking?
He is that
I
guy.
think, yeah. I mean, I think this kid might be the future for
I mean,
receivers, man.
he is his acrobatics,
Yeah.
his
When we talk about who they should make the next Spencer James movie on Spencer James, I think it should
yeah,
be Ryan Williams. I think they need
yeah.
to make an All American for Ryan Williams.
His ball
Yeah.
skills though, like his ability. I mean, just his body control,
Yeah.
how fluid he is. Like you see some
His
players,
body control is crazy.
you see some players that you can tell they had to work so hard at their craft,
Yeah.
which is what you want.
Yeah.
But for a 17-year-old kid, what he did, that just looked natural.
Yeah.
Everything he did just looked like it was like he looked like he was playing in the backyard with a bunch of friends
Yeah.
and just schooling his little brother. Uh, Told the quarterback, just hey, throw it up, and I'm gonna tip it to myself, and I'm gonna make my little brother look like a fool. Like, oh, you almost got it. Better luck next time, man. But I know you tried hard. I know you tried hard. You did the best.
No, he
All he
made
needs,
these grown men look like his
yeah, all he
backyard
needs to do
football
is
just bullying him like he was the grown man.
yes, all he needs to do is learn some old Larry Bird trash talk. Like, man, you did the best you could. Like some Tim Duncan stuff. Good try, young fella. Some things
who
like
did
that.
he have? So he switched his profile to Michael Vick
Yeah,
with the bulldog.
yeah.
I mean, he's got the dog in him, obviously. He just
Yeah, he's
keep
got the
the
dog in
dogs.
him, and he had the bulldogs on the leash.
Yeah.
He was
So
taking
he's
them
the
for a
top.
walk.
So
Yeah,
really, he should be the top dog.
yeah.
I
Well, he
think.
was. He had him on a leash, taking him
Yeah.
for a walk.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I think easily there. I say he's definitely in it right now. I think Travis Hunter is unbelievable, man. I think he should be the first round pick.
so so that would be fun. Like right there, it'll never happen because Colorado's not that team.
But
But
a
I'd
Ryan
like,
Williams versus Travis Hunter matchup would
yes,
be insane. Would
yes.
be insane.
Now
We need to see, we
we
need to
we
see it happen. We need to see it happen.
we were talking about earlier about what position Travis Hunter should play.
Yeah.
I don't think Travis Hunter is as fluid of a receiver. I mean, Ryan Williams, that dude is something else. I think Travis Hunter's money is in being a lockdown DB in the NFL. That's my opinion. And getting some snaps for an offense where you can get 8 to 12 snaps.
Look. Well, I think I agree with you. I think that he should be a cornerback, but I also think that you're crazy to think that he couldn't be a receiver too. I mean, this guy at receiver has shown what he can do. He's shown the highlights of what he can do. He's explosive. You throw it up to him, what's gonna happen? He's coming down with it. He's coming down with it every time.
You can't play him as many snaps as you're playing in college.
You can't, but
I'm a Husker fan, and I mean, we don't have NFL guys that he was having to cover. So when he gets to the NFL, you can't have him tired coming off of running a bunch of go routes and then line up at corner trying to cover Justin Jefferson, covering Jamar Chase. You can't. He ain't going to be able to do that. So, but I do think
we don't know what he can do yet though, because he's proven throughout the season he can do it right now.
But he can do it against college players. I'm saying he could do one or the other with 8 to 12 snaps. Pick your place. I think you play him the whole game at corner, and you do 8 to 12 snaps. Similar to what Dion returning punts. Like pick your spot, and here and there you sprinkle him in, especially if you've got some other good receivers. Because now when you bring him in, if you've got another good receiver, now what do you do? If you have a true number one, if he was on the Vikings next year, what do you do when he lines up opposite Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't, if you have an elite number one, you don't even need him playing the whole game. But those 10 or 12 snaps, that's a nightmare. Right. And he's still fresh to play corner the whole time.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah. Well, this also goes into the next question about picks, knowing that Quinn Ewers is going to be in the draft next season. Well, let's go past that and talk about Texas. Do you think that Texas, UT, is the best team in America right now? After seeing that game, do you think, because Texas and Georgia will be playing?
Texas and Georgia are going to be playing. That's going to be the key right there. So Georgia is going to be licking their wounds. So just like I said last week, I don't know if you remember me talking about Baltimore was going to be the more dangerous team playing against the Bills because they didn't want to be 1-3. So I don't know if you remember me picking. I was 2 for 3 last week. I blew it on the Steelers.
Yeah,
I thought they'd pull it off the Colts.
Yeah.
But what I did pick,
nobody expected that. I feel like they got lucky.
Is the Ravens are an amazing team. They were not going to go 1-3, and they were going to be hungrier, back to the wall, and out for blood. I feel like Georgia is going to be that way for the next few games. They had their loss. If UT beats Georgia, then we know. I know UT's for real as they're a top 3 team. Them top 4. Them, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. I think that's the cream of the crop.
Yeah, that's the competition right now.
Tennessee has to still show it. I think they're really good, but they don't have the long-term pedigree over the last several years. Sarkisian's building a monster. I mean, he's putting a squad together. He's got a backup quarterback that's probably a top 5 quarterback in college football in Arch Manning. They built their line. They've built their line they've got offensive linemen that are amazing.
Both their quarterbacks could be starting on any team in college football right now.
Yes, either quarterback could go to Ohio State and start right now. Most teams. There's only a handful of teams. They're 3 or 4 quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders. But other than that,
they're only, and you know why But I think Quinn Ewers is better than Shedeur Sanders.
Maybe.
We'll see, right?
We'll see. I come and go on Shedeur Sanders. I come and go on Shedeur Sanders, man, because after watching him play against Nebraska, we rattled him, but you can't read in too much to being rattled. So this is pre your age, but being a Husker fan back in the 90s, before you were born, when the Huskers were Alabama back in the 90s, we made Peyton Manning look average. I mean, we killed him in a bowl game. Our defense was just all over him. So in college, when a defense just overmatches you, you sometimes can't read too much in it.
Yeah, we can't read too much in. I understand that, and I understand because Quinn Ewers does have a way better system that he's in,
and
but
way
he's
more
shown that he
talent.
can produce.
Yeah, but way more.
I think
One of the
Shador
things,
has shown flashes, and I understand his team hasn't been the best over the years that he's had to work
and he's
with.
had a horrible offensive line.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible. Like I think Shador. I think so. I'm actually about to give you a hot take. Shador Sanders being drafted. I think part of the problem is his prime is amazing, but he's also polarizing. I feel like a lot of NFL general managers are going to view Shador Sanders the same way LaMelo Ball and they were viewed. Like you're getting a talent, but do we want to deal with the outside noise? Right. I think that's going to be a minus, although the difference is obviously Prime was a real guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't some dude that was
and Shador definitely has the same traits as him.
Yes, but I think some general managers, because you know how the NFL is, some general managers are going to look at Shador Sanders and say,
"No,
I don't want that outside."
I'm not going to take away from the fact that Shador is going to be and can be a star.
Yes,
don't
but
get me wrong.
There's going to be some GMs. I promise you, there'll be a few that are going to not want the noise. But he has elite arm talent.
I think this quarterback class is going to be spicy.
Yeah, but he has elite arm talent. Just from I've watched plenty of his games, like he can make all the throws you want. He can make he can make throws under duress. He can.
Yeah, we saw that game winner he had.
Yeah, so I think a team would be foolish, especially teams like the Giants. I mean, obviously, almost any team that's drafting in the bottom 7 or 8, unless you somehow traded with somebody and you already have an established quarterback. But most teams drafting 1 through 7, 8, 9, 10 are there for a reason because they don't have a quarterback. Obviously.
Oh, my fault.
Go ahead.
I was going to say let's move on to the next one.
All right, what you got?
Is it time to give the SEC their long due flowers after all these years?
Oh, you've got it. I mean,
yes. I mean, like we were saying, you got like the top.
A lot of haters though. Like I'm not one of those guys. Like the reality is, Alabama's been dominant. LSU in the past has been dominant.
Yep.
The realignment right now, if we can all be honest about it, there's really only 2 conferences. Really, the SEC and the Big Ten are the AFC and the NFC, and the Pac-12, the Big 12, the ACC.
It's like,
they're like the CFL.
Yeah, like they're like in basketball terms, they're like the G League.
Yes. So the reality is right now, it used to be the Power 5. It's honestly the Power 2 because all the other conferences maybe have one good team in it.
Yeah.
You know, Miami, that they're it for where they're at. The Big Ten bringing in Oregon, bringing in USC, bringing in Washington's down this year. If they're a good program, they'll bounce back. Nebraska's starting to come back. Penn State's solid. Michigan, they're going to have to rebuild with a new coach because that's always tough. But make no mistake about it. If I were to rank all the teams, you're
going to get most of those teams in those 2 conferences.
There's
the top best team, the top 10 teams.
Out of the top 5 right now, 4 out of the top 5 in the rankings are SEC.
Our SEC,
yeah, and it drops off after that. So when I looked at the rankings, out of the top 10, Miami's the only non SEC Big Ten team. But the reality is there's a drop off after about 5.
Yeah.
So and when I say drop off after 5, Tennessee's number 4. I'm not sure if they're really number 4, if it's just because Georgia lost.
Yeah.
Like we'll see. But I feel like Georgia or Oregon, USC, Missouri, Michigan, they're all Penn State. They're all a step below.
Yeah.
There's definitely an elite 4, and 3 of those 4 in the SEC. So.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that wraps up this college. I think we had
let's head on.
NFL now.
This makes me mad. But I've been hearing this topic now. Do you think that the Steelers defense after last week performance and just this season kind of is a little overrated?
I think they're a little overrated. I still think we need a. I still think we need a second corner. I still think our secondary is susceptible. Um, I wish they would have. I wish they would have used another pick early on a DB.
Yeah.
But I also know we had to go after off. We had to draft an offensive tackle. We had to draft a center because the previous GM like overlooked the offensive line for too many years. Um, I like the team. I think we're Tomlin. Tomlin is a maddening coach. Like he
Yeah.
is. You can love him and then you get frustrated with
You can
him.
get mad because
Yes.
like it just gets to a point where winning, having a regular season winning record isn't enough. I mean, the end game in the NFL is to win a championship. It's not how many games you win in the regular season.
No, it's
It's
not.
winning. It's how many of these you got.
Yes.
And the fact that TJ Watt hasn't won a playoff game in his career is getting frustrating because let's be honest, TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the NFL, hands down, no arguments. You want to come at me? Talk to big man right here about that before you can get to me.
I tell you what,
and this is no bias.
Mike, you know who Mike Tomlin's turning into?
Who?
He's starting to turn into the NFL version of the coach we always dog in the NBA. That's what that won one championship. Oh my goodness.
Talking about Doc Rivers?
Yes. All the talent Doc Rivers had. Mike Tomlin is turning into Doc Rivers, except he was like one team. But think about he had prime Le'Veon Bell, prime Antonio Brown, and prime Big Ben, and didn't win Super Bowls with him. And I don't care about Tom Brady. You had a prime and you had prime defensive players on that roster. You had Troy Polamalu. You had an amazing offensive line. You had David DeCastro, a ton of talent. So at a certain point, you got to start getting over the hump and making the right roster decisions.
Yeah.
They needed to make a running back decision in the offseason. I still don't love Najee Harris. Cordell Patterson's a better running back when he comes in the game.
See, the thing about Najee's too damn big to be acting like a small back. Like, I feel like there's a lot of him trying to juke, him trying to hurdle, him trying to stop and find a lane. He's not Le'Veon Bell. Najee, you're not Le'Veon Bell. You're built like Derrick Henry. You need to run people over because that's and you're an Alabama running back. And what do all Alabama running backs do?
Plant their foot and go north and south.
So do what Nick Saban told you to do. Plant your foot and smack them.
Yeah, because Saban would pull him aside and that no more dancing.
You want to hold him that you would be kicked off, not kicked off the team, but he would sit you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so I think the defense has something to improve, especially that the harder part of their schedule is coming up. So it's got a little concern with their defense right now. So we'll see if they gel.
Yeah. Well, next on the list is our tight ends becoming overrated this season.
Well, we're starting to get some tight ends are starting to age out. Travis Kelce's starting to age out. I saw somebody else talking about that he might have 4 or 5 or 6 good games left in his body, which is probably true, and they got to save him for the playoffs. I think defenses overall are starting to adjust more.
Yeah.
You're starting, me as a defensive guy, I'm liking that they're making things more difficult. We're starting to get some more athletic linebackers that can run, safeties that are coming up.
The problem is there's only one tight end in the league right now that has 300 yards, and all the other ones are barely in the hundreds and low 200s, high hundreds and low 200s. Dallas Goddard is the only one that is in the 300s right now, as of right now. He's only at 301.
Passing is down in general. And a lot of that is on the quarterbacks are a little skittish right now. Yeah. Everybody's down. The fact that
running backs are actually the ones that are doing a lot this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everything's cyclical.
everybody thought it wasn't gonna like thought he was gonna be on the down because he got traded. But I mean, Derrick Henry has proven that he's
I,
still elite. I mean,
I,
he's 480 yards already this season.
I think
That's
Derrick
insane.
Henry and Lamar Jackson is
That's the craziest.
that's a fit. That would have been like back in the day, like having a prime Michael Vick and Adrian Peterson running a zone read
Yeah,
together, something like that. You know,
yeah.
that's something that's really something the NFL's never seen. I
Like,
mean,
and
think about
everybody's complaining because Derrick Henry doesn't catch the ball. Does
who
he?
cares?
Who cares? Because
Who
if
cares?
you hand him off the ball, what does he do every time?
Who cares?
yeah,
So so sports is monkey see, monkey do, right? The old
yeah,
saying. The Steelers need to figure that out. We need to figure out a way to find a running back because Najee's okay, but he ain't Derrick Henry. We need to find a running back with young Justin Fields while his legs are still young to do the same thing because defenses are not you, and we need to do it before defenses get used to it.
yeah,
And you can't just have one. If they can handle a running quarterback, they can handle a really good running back, but they're not used to handling both,
yeah.
which
They
is really ironic. Me being a Husker fan and everybody always talking about the option is dead. Zone read is literally an option out of the
yeah,
shotgun because you're doing the exact same thing. The option is on the defensive end. You leave him unblocked, and whoever he takes, the quarterback either keeps it or pitches it or hands it off. So it's a recycled, reinvented version of an old option.
yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. You make them make a decision, and every time, if you're a good quarterback, every time that decision is wrong because they make you make that decision, and once you make it, they either hand off or pitch. And
Yeah.
the quarterback though has to be good at it. Lamar's good at it, and you have to have a good running back
Have to have a good running back to
and a
duel
good and
that
a
threat.
running quarterback that can run.
That's a dual
And
threat.
yes, and then what
Yeah,
that does is that brings up the defense, that brings up the safeties. Everybody's close to the line
yeah.
of scrimmage.
Yep.
And then you put somebody on the outside, and then all of a sudden you look like you're running a zone read, and he takes 2 steps back
And
and
he's
hits a 50-yard pass when the guy's 10 yards wide open. There's nobody around him.
yeah.
You can
Because
underthrow
you can't
5
game
yards.
plan that. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no way. But speaking of quarterbacks, you know who I'm about to talk about? Are the Vikings and Sam Donald the real deal?
Well, they their defense is the real deal. He's the he's real enough. He's real enough.
4-0 right now.
The Vikings survived with Kirk Cousins for years. So you
This
don't have
Derek, let's not even talk about this. Oh, that is a crazy statement. That is true. Let's talk about their defense, though. I mean, what they've been able to do to these quarterbacks, man. Like, think about the fact that they've been able, they shut down, they shut down, uh, what's it called? Brock Purdy.
Mhm.
They held him to 17. They shut down CJ Stroud, held him to 7. And they shut down Jordan Love, which I think Jordan Love had 2 picks that game, if I'm not mistaken. Actually three. He had 3 interceptions that game. This
Well,
defense has proven over 3 elite quarterbacks already that they are the real deal. And I think that this team is a real team, real deal team, because both sides of them are balling out right now.
I think the Steelers made a mistake when they brought Brian Flores in a couple of years ago after he was let go at Miami, and we brought him in for a season as a special assistant or whatever his role was. I couldn't believe they didn't keep him as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He may not have been a great head coach, or maybe he was, and it was the Dolphins. Who knows what the organization was like? I don't know all the
Yeah.
inside workings, but all I know is he knows how to coach defense.
Yeah.
And it's not shocking at all what he's doing in Minnesota. And they have an offensive coach that's getting stability and getting the most. It's amazing when quarterbacks get an opportunity to play elsewhere,
Yeah.
how well they play. And I am going to segue to one thing that you weren't wanting to talk about, or you didn't have on the list, but it brings up quarterbacks. Did you see the little back and forth between Baker Mayfield and Tom Brady?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so Tom Brady was on a podcast and
Yeah.
he talked about how when he was brought into Tampa Bay, he was brought in to lighten the mood and make football fun again because a lot of players weren't enjoying football when Tom Brady was there. They didn't enjoy it because it was too intense. And Tom Brady picked up on that, heard about the podcast, and he clapped back on it. He's like, he says, "Gee, I didn't know. I thought not winning Super Bowls was not fun." He goes, "The only reason I'm
Yo,
playing is to win Super Bowls. That's what they brought me in to do." He goes, I'm not here to have fun. He goes, if you want to go, he told Baker Mayfield, if you want to have fun, take your kids to Disney World. He goes, that's having fun. He goes, if I
yo.
want to have fun, he goes, I'm out there to win Super Bowls.
Nah, yeah. I mean, he has the rings to prove it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's a different mentality. That's a winner's mentality. Mahomes has
Yeah.
talked about it. He
Yeah.
said they're still not playing well,
Yeah.
right? And he's right, but most quarterbacks can't say that about themselves and admit it.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got 7 minutes left. You think we should just continue with football or use that left to talk about the NBA?
let's close out on the NBA because we're getting close. They'll be hitting camp soon, so we got to give them a little love.
You're right.
We're not talking about soccer or baseball, so we got to go.
Hell, huh? All right.
We got to let everybody know that.
Let's talk about the way too early championship contenders. Man.
So everybody's gonna talk about the Celtics, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna talk about OKC. I think is definitely up and coming.
I think that people think they forgot about
Who's that?
Paul George going to the 76ers.
That's gonna be interesting.
Mhm.
Everybody's gonna have to stay healthy. He's gonna have to stay healthy. Embiid's gonna have to stay healthy. If Embiid could stay healthy and they could get, that's going to be an interesting one. I like the Celtics. I still don't love the Celtics. They have a hell of a roster. Um,
You don't think they can do it again, right?
yeah, I think it's going to be a dogfight with the Sixers. I think the West is going to be just brutal to each other.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the Mavericks. I like the trade. So I like the trade of Julius Randle. If he stays healthy,
Healthy, that's a good team.
uh,
Minnesota is going to be a good team.
he brings a little bit more dog to them to go along with Ant.
Yeah.
You got a whole different personality than you had.
You can't leave out Memphis now with John Morant coming back. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah.
He's had all this off the court stuff going on, but man, that don't take away from what the fact that he's done on the court. This guy is a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they gotta rebuild that team and see how they're gonna play.
Yeah.
I think for sure your top teams, your Minnesota, your OKC, your Dallas, and your Denver, your top four teams.
I think Denver takes a step back.
I think they take a step back, but I think as long as they have their big three that they have right now,
I like their big three, but I think teams have, and I think that this is also kudos to them, but I think teams have built their teams to be able to compete versus them now. I think every team has gotten bigs on their team to be able to throw at Jokic and Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon, and they all too have guards now. Most of every team has an elite guard.
But I still think they're
versus
there.
like Jamal Murray.
I think those are the top four teams. I think after the top four, Memphis is trying to get back, right? And I love Ja. So I love Ja. So I think they're trying to come back, and I hope he comes back because I like his ferocity.
Yeah.
But then I think after that, all the teams after that have a ton of issues. Phoenix, Durant, man,
they're gone. They're done. Phoenix,
they're done.
Phoenix has been done for the past years. Last time they went to after their championship when they had Chris Paul, they were done.
If Durant wants to win another championship, he needs to just go sign with the Spurs and be a
or just come back to the Warriors, man.
Or come back to the Warriors. But he's got to go somewhere where he's.
We're not giving up Kuminga for that either.
No. But he's got to go to a team that, hey, stand outside and shoot over everybody. Yeah. He's not going to be the alpha. And Devin Booker's not a true. He's a really good player, but he's not an alpha.
No,
You know, it
and
took
Bradley Bill's just he just fell off the face of the earth.
yes. So he's going to have to go somewhere else. Like speaking of your Warriors, because they need a real vet. You know, like if somehow they would have signed Paul George or Kevin Durant,
I'm so upset about that. We were supposed to get Paul George and then we were supposed to get Lauri Markkanen, and neither of them happened.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how. Like I feel like I understand we're trying to be conservative with how we trade, but I mean Curry, man, like
if they would
this window for Curry is closing, man. If they want to get him another championship, we got to make a move now.
Yeah, now.
And I'm starting to see some like frustration with Curry, and I don't know how long. I don't know. No, you know what I'm saying. But I think if like we can't build a team for him, like this year, if we don't, like let's say we're like don't make playoffs or like a first round exit, I could see him moving on to the next team next season, right behind Klay Thompson.
Yeah, that it's going to happen. And for the Warriors, it might be their best choice to rebuild. You know, although we'll just see.
Yeah,
because all the NBA teams are on the clock right now, because they all know they have about 2 years before the Spurs put the rest of their roster together.
And Wembanyama.
And they have all those picks to put players around him.
Freak.
And he's a freak. And all they need is one more star. They don't need two more stars. They need one more real star and some good role players.
You
know, and they have 2 or 3 picks coming up in this 2025 draft. And if they can land one of the 4 or 5 really good players in this draft, watch out. And then there'll be some bandwagon vets jumping into the Spurs.
Yeah. I think Wemby already is taking over. I mean, like last season, I feel like he should have already gotten that Defensive Player of the Year award, even as a rookie. But I understand why they couldn't give it to him because he was a rookie. But I mean, he was the best defender in the league.
I think he's going to take a big leap. His comfort level after playing in the NBA the whole season, every off season he gets to get more physical. The Olympics, everything's going to help him. So,
well, we got a minute left, man. So, you know what I got to do? Hold on.
It's X, man.
All right, man. Yeah. What?
That's my boy, man. X.
Well, you know what, man? This was a good podcast, man. I think we got some good views. You know what I'm saying?
All right. We'll do this next week. We'll see how the NCAA and the NFL goes this weekend, and we'll update everybody.
Yep. Well, hey. Y'all, keep it.
We'll give it to you.